Good evening. Love Dr. Nikki from Arcana here. I have my Arcana deck of cards with me today, and I was going to review the Major Arcana with you. Now, this isn't a story about the cards. This is just a walk through the cards to show you what they are, and maybe hopefully dispel some of the misconceptions some people have about some of the cards. Now, the first card is the Fool. And the Fool is one of those cards that a lot of people have a misconception about. It doesn't mean that you're foolish, as in being stupid. It talks about entering into something entirely new, starting a whole new phase, looking at life a whole different way. But the point of the Fool is you do it with innocence and usually exuberance. Then the next card in the Major Arcana is the Magician. Now, the Magician is one of the more positive cards in the deck. The Magician talks about having the power to make what you want to have happen. And it also alludes to the tarot theme of as above, so below. The next card on our tour through the Major Arcana is the Priestess. In other decks, she's called the High Priestess. This is a wise woman, a woman who has knowledge, a lot of times a practitioner of the arcane arts. Then we have the Empress. The Empress is usually a woman who's very composed, used to getting what she wants, and used to being in command. Many CEOs, when we do spreads for them, women CEOs are often represented by the Empress, and a lot of men CEOs are represented by the Emperor. This is a man who knows how to rule, knows how to lead, and knows how to create a country unto his own. This is usually a very intelligent man with a lot of resources behind him. The next card we get is the Priest. And the Priest is the male aspect of the Priestess. And the Priest talks about arcane knowledge, going within, and looking deep inside for the outer truths. The next card is a very favored card among a lot of relationship seekers. And this is the Lovers. Well, it's rather obvious, don't you think? It's one of the few cards that truly is literal in its meaning. And here we have the Chariot. Now, the Chariot talks about movement, sudden change, change in fortune. Then we have the Justice card. The Justice card is one that a lot of people find uncomfortable, but the Justice talks about not justice in the sense of secular justice here on earth, but justice in the sense of the greater good. Think more karma than justice in the courts. Then we have the Hermit, the one who withdraws from society to go within. And then this is one of my favorite cards in the deck. It's the Wheel. In some decks it's called the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel is an amazing, amazing card. It talks about just how fortune, kismet, karma all comes in together and mixes all up, and that it's all on the wheel, and sooner or later it's going to come back down to what you earned. Then the next card we have is usually almost always represented with a woman with a large wild cat. Here we have a woman with a lioness, and it's the card of Strength. And it talks about the inner strength more than the physical strength. It talks about that intestinal fortitude to keep pushing and keep doing. Now, here's a card that a lot of people find uncomfortable for a good reason. This is the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man talks about being indecisive, not being sure which way you want to go, not really looking ahead, kind of staying in stasis, not making a decision when you should be. Now, this next card is one that most people really have a hard time with. Yes, it's the dreaded Death card. Now, the Death card really isn't that bad. If you're not happy with your life the way it is, the one thing you need is some change in your life. The Death card very rarely talks about a physical death. What the Death card talks about is the death of a situation, the change of a situation, or something along that nature. as opposed to a physical death of a person. Then the next card we have, and this is such a beautiful card, is Temperance. Isn't she beautiful? Temperance is patience, my friend. Yes, that's the hard one, right? But it is. Temperance talks about tempering your actions, slowing things down, giving things time to manifest and roll out for you. So when the Temperance card comes up, look at it as a blessing. It's time to take a break. Then the next card is another one that bothers people, and that's the Devil. Now, the Devil is a difficult card, but something a lot of people don't realize is you see down here the couple are chained to the rock. If you look, it's just looped around the rock. And anytime the couple wanted to, they could remove those chains from the rock and walk away. However, that's the message of the Devil, being tied to old ideas, not letting go that which is past, trying to hold on to a grudge you should have let go of a long time ago. All three of those conditions could be represented by the Devil in your spread. And then the next one we have, this is another one that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. The next one we have is the Tower. And it does look like a rather dramatic card, doesn't it? With that lightning bolt coming down and striking the steeple. What the Tower talks about is complete and inexorable change. Change that cannot be stopped, that it is just going to happen. Sometimes when the Tower comes up, it's best to just let go and see what happens. But the Tower is a signifier of change, and as most people do want to affect some kind of change in their life, usually, not always, but usually, it's in a positive aspect, and that the change is going to bring better for you. The next card we have, this is the Star. One of my favorite cards, and the symbology of the star seems to be pretty much inherent through all the decks. It's always a woman standing on one foot, pouring water out of urns that she's holding in her hands. And the star's primary meaning is faith, hope, and inspiration. And it's a beautiful card. And if you think about it, being hope, faith, and inspiration for someone would be a pretty cool thing now, wouldn't it? So a lot of people like seeing the star come up in a love reading. The next card we have is the Moon. Now, the Moon is a difficult card sometimes. While it's pretty to look at, the Moon talks about things being hidden, things not yet to be revealed, that there may be things going on behind the scenes that you were unaware of, and it's time to wait and let it play out first. So the Moon is a cautionary card of patience. Yeah, I know, patience, right? Then the next card we get is the Sun. And that's pretty much kind of what the card means. It talks about being out in the sunshine, everything is open, secrets are revealed, you're on top of the world, walking on sunshine like the song says. It really talks about those positive aspects of life and the celebration that you can have with that. And then, the next to the last card on our tour through the major arcana of the tarot is the card of Judgment. Now, the Judgment card talks very specifically about that. It's your opportunity to exercise good judgment to make the choices to create the future that you want to manifest. The Judgment card always challenges you to look at the situation from your higher self. And then finally, the last card we get is the World. Now, this is probably, it's a fantastic, wonderful card. And what the World talks about is having the world at your command, feeling like you've got it made, having one of those golden moments in life where you really feel you've got it all together and you're doing it right. So in 22 simple cards, we go through a whole variety of phases of life. And that's just in the major arcana. Now, a lot of other people have different takes on how the arcana is put together. That's vive la différence. But in this deck, what I've tried to show you with this film today is a little bit of how those cards that are ooh scary may not be quite so scary when you see them in a spread. I'm Love Dr. Nikki from www.aronum.com, and I hope you'll stop by and talk tarot with me someday. We'll see you soon.